And we're very pleased to have joining us our special guest for Touch Base in Seoul this week, Sung An, here in the studio. Chef An, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So first of all, congratulations. This was a little while back, but you got a star in the Michelin Guide Seoul's 2019 selection. Maybe for you it was expected and it wasn't a big deal, but generally, how did it feel?
No, it's always a big deal when you get recognized for your hard work, and not just for me, but everyone who's participated for this the result, you would say, or the award. But it doesn't justify what we do, but we definitely are very excited to earn a star in Seoul.
Just from your own background, I believe you're originally from Korea, but then you moved to the States at an early age. Where did you live in the U.S.?
First moved to San Diego, California. Went to school there and traveled all of the state after that, after high school. And now before I was in San Francisco, worked there for a long time before I moved back to Seoul. So.
And I understand you also joined the military and you actually served a tour in Iraq. Is that
That's
correct?
right, yeah.
So you have this very fascinating and varied background, being a Korean-born person, moving to California, kind of living a life there, then deciding to join the army, serving in Iraq. How did that all come about to kind of spark your interest in cooking and becoming a chef?
Well, you never know what you're gonna get from the chocolate box.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting,
Yeah.
To be a chef when I joined the army. I didn't know what I was going to be, but I was definitely a very more outgoing person. Didn't really have enough patience to sit down and do something. So I think the best choice at that time for me was to travel and kind of see the world. And the easiest way for a young a kid like me in San Diego was to join Army and travel for free, and also experience different culture and different people. That kind of made me who I am, as far as having connection with a different multicultural way, and then that kind of reflects on my cooking too.
Right.
As far as how did that affect everything? Everything affects. Everything is an inspiration as who I am right now.
Right.
So, to answer your question, it's kind of all over the place, but it's definitely made who I am. All the traveling and in the military too.
I mean, it kind of makes sense in the sense that I'm from California too. San Diego is a very diverse city. It has a very strong military background as well. In that city, you were there. Your parents also were running a Chinese restaurant. Is that correct?
Yeah,
and so you kind of grew up in the business in that sense. Was it one of those Korean Chinese restaurants, or was it
no? It was one of those
Chinese restaurants.
Chinese American restaurant where you serve like
chop suey
orange chicken and chop suey and teriyaki chicken. Yeah.
Would you say then, because your parents were also running restaurants, you know how the typical Korean stereotype of parents, you got to go to Harvard and become a doctor or a lawyer and all that. When you decided that you were going to pursue this as a career, were they fairly supportive of you, or were there kind of some skepticism?
Right. I mean, just like you said, a lot of Korean parents in the stateside want you to have a certain category, as far as your job. But they already knew that I wasn't going to be, going to that route. So they were very supportive from the beginning. And I wasn't good. I wasn't always good in as far as cooking. So they were always supportive, but they told me not to quit, and still had my back. So yeah, I was in good hands.
When you talk about the life of a chef, and I think it's now sort of become popularized, right, in culture, where you have a lot of these chefs becoming celebrities, but they recount how it all kind of is a process of, when you start out as a chef, whether you go to culinary school or not, you got to start at the bottom, right? I mean, and then you got to work your way up.
Definitely.
Can you talk about that journey of kind of going from that bottom point all the way to sort of the pinnacle of your profession? Right. You went to Japanese restaurants. You did work at places like Thomas Keller's French Laundry. Was that a difficult path, or was it something that you were kind of...
Well, to answer your first question, or just to kind of give a brief answer, I'm definitely living in really nice generation. Like, for the chefs.
Right.
Before, no matter how good you are, you will not get recognized. But right now, I mean, if you do something trendy, if you do something, you just get recognized by some people, and then you become celebrity.
Right.
You can a TV show or even radio like this. So we're definitely lucky as to have this profession at this era. Far as my experience from the bottom to the top, well, I don't consider myself being on the top, but I think I had a really good mentors to guide me. I think that's one of the really the important points that you need when you're a chef, because you can go a lot of different way. You can go a lot of different way, and then you could choose easier path. But I started off as going to school, and I think about 80% of the graduates didn't actually become chef. They realize how hard it is, how much dedication, passion, and time consuming
Right.
it is, physically, mentally, and in every aspect of it. So I was the 20% who kept going. Went to a place called Urasawa. It was a Japanese restaurant. At that time, it was most expensive restaurant in West Coast of United States. And the reason I went there is just to want to challenge myself. I hear that was the best restaurant in California, in West Coast. So I think I need a job there. So I went there. I knocked on the door, having no experience of Japanese cooking at all.
Right.
So he just didn't open the door.
Yeah.
So I called, and he didn't answer. Well, he answered. His waitress answered, and I called, and he would not pick up the phone. So and I went back. I mean, it's kind of a long story, kind of dragging, but after I went back, I think the fifth time that I went back, he opened the door. He's like, "What do you really want?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I want to work here," and it's like, "You're gonna have to work for free if you're gonna work here." So I took that. I couldn't pay my rent. I couldn't pay my bill, but I think at that time it was for me to learn, for me to have a strong will to finish what I started. So I got a job there, and later on he paid me little by little, and I was lucky enough to get scouted by a chef at French Laundry when he came and dined. He asked me to come and work at the laundry. So I went, and I was there for a little over 2 years, and the chef was opening. The chef who had recruited me was opening a restaurant, so I went with him to open his restaurant. The restaurant was called Benu in San Francisco, and they also earned 3 Michelin stars. And after that, I knew it was time for myself to kind of do my thing. So I had a real interest in Moroccan spices and wanted to learn about that, which I couldn't do it in French Laundry or Benu. So I went off my own to become a chef at a Moroccan restaurant. Never been to Morocco, never did anything, but I just dived myself once again to challenge myself and to learn. And I was a chef there, and then I got a 1 Michelin star as a Moroccan Moroccan cuisine chef who had never been to Morocco. After that, I wanted to I wanted to do my own. So I decided to open a restaurant called Mosu in San Francisco, and I opened it. And thankfully, I earned a star doing my food. Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, you just kind of highlight where it takes talent, but it also takes a lot of dedication, perseverance, hard work, which maybe there are other chefs that have almost as much as talent as you or just as much talent as you, but they won't get to that extra level because of the fact that they're not willing to put in that extra work. You opened Mosu in San Francisco. You got the Michelin star. A lot of people will say San Francisco is sort of like a culinary capital of the U.S. It's sort of like you're in the big pond.
Yeah.
You're kind of a big star there. What would be the motivation then to come back to your motherland, to Korea, and kind of try to take a risk and start something new again?
Yeah, that's the question that I get most from every single guest probably that comes into Mosu. And I do have a straightforward answer, just personal reason. The business was doing good. Of course, the Michelin star, and it became famous. But it was I couldn't spend time with my family there. It's just that when you think about just being a chef, having a restaurant in San Francisco, it's actually backward to open a restaurant in Seoul. So most time you would do something in Seoul, really do well. Maybe you could go to San Francisco, maybe
Yeah.
you make it.
Right.
But making in San Francisco, earning a star in San Francisco, and coming back here, nobody understood. My friends, family, they're worried. This must be the wrong decision, and the guests, and even just fellow chefs in San Francisco, the whole community, even the newspaper, even the Chronicles.
Wow.
They were like, "This is wrong. This has never been done before for a chef to do that." And when I heard this is the first, no one did it before, I was like, I'm gonna be the first one then. Why not? But that was just like the professional side. Personal side, my family was here. My wife, my kids, they were all here. So for me, answer was kind of easy.
Okay.
What kind of balance do I want in my life? What do I myself see in how do I see myself in 5 years, 10 years? Maybe I'll be a greatest chef in the world, but I worked hard, but I didn't just work hard just to be great chef in the world. I wanted to have my family and spend time with them, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons
Right.
That I moved back to Seoul.
So it really puts everything in perspective. Obviously, working very hard, sometimes 20-hour days as a chef, but this idea that, you want to be great, but you also have to prioritize things that might matter more, just like your family and that life you lead, raising kids and having that time together. Obviously, it's worked out in the sense that you have now, again, received a Michelin star for Mosu here in Seoul. Before we wrap things up, then, you got a lot of success going on. You're getting a lot of media attention as well. What is sort of like your future goals now? Is it a franchising issue, or is it going to be opening up a bunch of hotspots, maybe even heading back out to other areas?
Well, even though people see me as a successful chef, and I'm really thankful about that, but it only has been a little over a year since I opened Mosu in Seoul. So I don't see myself stopping as far as Mosu Seoul. As far as other plans that I have it in my head, but it's something that has to be something solid plan before I even speak out. So, first and foremost, I think every single guest that comes into Mosu Seoul, that I will try to take care and for their experience. So that's my main goal right now. Like tomorrow's the guest and next week's guest, that's what's on my mind, rather than my future in 1 year or 2 years. So
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do appreciate about you, is that a lot of people can become so-called celebrity chefs, but often then they step out of the kitchen because that's what they're doing now, the media stuff. But you're still kind of involved in the cooking and actually being with your guests. And so it really is sort of an inspirational story. I think a lot of people are rooting for you. Obviously, we wish you continued success, maybe more stars. Hopefully, we can have you back again if time permits, despite your busy schedule. But we do want to thank you for joining us right now. Chef Sung-an, thank you very much. Best of luck, and hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you.
thank you, Henry. Thank you, sir.